Democrats scream bloody murder as Trump's national intelligence director releases unverified Russian compromat alleging that crooked Hillary was behind the entire plan to stir up anti-Trump fervor with her own unverified Russian compromat that sent this nation into a 3-year tailspin. Just like Hillary, karma's a bitch.
Never tell them who I am. Well, I came. I'm a man. 6 shooters in both my hands. I'm a cold-blooded brother, a real bad mother. Watch out, honey, here I am.
Oh, you gotta love a good old story of someone having to eat what they dish out. So, Trump, from the AP here, Trump intel chief unveils unverified Russian info about Dems. Now, did we hear that the Steele dossier was unverified Russian info about Trump? No, it was taken on its face as fact, despite the fact that Christopher Steele was listed as a potential national security threat. And, of course, was working with the Russians, which is what the entire thing was accusing Donald Trump of doing. So it's really good. You know, I've always talked before about how the Democrats and Hillary Clinton is the Democrats. I mean, she's been the Democrats for a while now. It is her party, and even still to this day, it's Hillary Clinton's party. And she is an Alinskyite. Saul Alinsky wrote the book Rules for Radicals. She wrote her college thesis on rules for radicals. And one of the rules for radicals is always accuse your opponent of doing precisely what you are doing. And as a little side note, the first edition of Rules for Radicals was dedicated to Satan himself, which sounds about right for Hillary Clinton. Sounds about right. So we have, and in this article here, they say the Trump administration's top intelligence official said Tuesday that he has declassified Russian intelligence alleging damaging information about Democrats during the 2016 election, even though he acknowledged it might not be true. I am going to lean towards this probably is true, given everything that we've learned about everything that the Democrats did to derail Trump's presidency and to not transition power over to him. Trump even called Biden out in the debates for this. So he actually accused Biden, or not accused, just straight up reminded the public, because we already know that Biden did this, that Biden was the one that came up with the idea of charging Michael Flynn with the Logan Act. Which, if you don't know what the Logan Act is, it is an incredibly obscure law that 0 people in the history of this nation have ever been successfully charged under, prosecuted under. It's essentially a law that means you can't represent, it makes it illegal to represent yourself to a foreign country falsely as a member, as a representative of America. So, like an individual who is not a representative of America, you can't just fly over to another country and say you represent America. You're doing it without any authority. It's a law that essentially became obsolete with the invention of the telephone. You know, we're now able to just pick up the phone, or now send an email or send a text message, whatever you have to do. Go to the website, look up there's so many different ways now that you can verify whether somebody is actually who they say they are, and if they're with who they say they're with. So it's a completely obscure and obsolete law, and it was Biden's idea to go after Michael Flynn with that. And we all know that Obama was in that meeting, so he knew what was going on. And we'll get into the meat of exactly what this letter says in just a minute. But let's go ahead and get to what the AP says about this, because it's going to be mind-numbingly hilarious how they have no problem screaming foul when Trump's director of national intelligence releases this or declassifies this document and sends this letter to Lindsey Graham. Yet they had no problem with what Hillary Clinton and the Democrats did with the Steele dossier and the entire Russian collusion hoax that proved to be an absolute outright fabrication. So I'm not going to feel too sorry for them about this. They have lost all goodwill. They have tried to dupe me. They have tried to dupe you. They have tried to dupe everybody else in the American public about Donald Trump and his relationships with Russia. When really, we all know, I mean, Hillary Clinton sold 20% of our uranium stocks to Russia for pennies on the dollar in 2010 in the Uranium One deal. That alone should be raising red flags about who's really working with Russia. And then now we hear that Hunter Biden gets $3.5 million from the widow of former Moscow mayor. What's he getting $3.5 million from Russia for? You know, they're accusing Donald Trump of doing everything that they have been doing, and now it's coming back to bite them in the ass, and you'll see the establishment media will do anything and everything they can to play up the fact that this isn't totally verified, and you know, there's no smoking gun. But given everything we know, I'm leaning towards it's probably true. So, the announcement just hours before the first presidential debate of this November's election drew harsh criticism from lawmakers who accused National Intelligence Director John Ratcliffe of politicizing intelligence. Really. And Brennan and Clapper and all of those people, Comey, they didn't politicize intelligence, not one bit. That's what you're going to tell me. So I don't care if Trump is politicizing intelligence, because they have already politicized the intelligence community against Donald Trump. And the left always, the Democrats, they always expect the Republicans to play by the rules while they break all of them. That's why if they ever start losing, what they do is they change the rules. We can see that now from all the threats to pack the court if Amy Coney Barrett gets confirmed, which she's going to get confirmed. So in a letter Tuesday to Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham, Ratcliffe said that in late July 2016, U.S. intelligence agencies obtained insight into Russian spycraft alleging that Hillary Clinton, who was running for president, had approved a campaign plan to stir up a scandal against Trump. But Ratcliffe added that the American intelligence agencies do not know the accuracy of this allegation or the extent to which the Russian intelligence analysis may reflect exaggeration or fabrication. The announcement was a startling break from convention, given that the nation's intelligence chiefs are generally loath to publicly discuss sensitive government intelligence, particularly when that information is unconfirmed. Yet we did not see any of that. We don't see any of that from the Dems. We have not seen the Democrats be loath to release this kind of information if it damages their political opponents. Again, they want us to play by the rules while they break them all. Flagrantly. Verifiably. As Radcliffe admits is the case here. But Trump himself has been eager to install loyalists in the role of intelligence director, and Ratcliffe and his predecessor, Richard Grenell, have authorized a series of disclosures in recent months aimed at undermining the Russian investigation and providing a political advantage to Trump. Now, what's interesting is that they talk about how Trump has been eager to install loyalists. But Michael Flynn, who operated as the director of national intelligence under Barack Obama, was acrimoniously fired for not being a loyalist, for going against some of Obama's policy positions, for going against some of his ideas on who was a real threat, who wasn't a real threat, and also on being soft and basically the appeasement strategy of the Obama administration and how they were soft on ISIS and in Islamic terrorism. Because we all saw, I mean, the Obama administration were chasing their tail on ISIS for years, not getting much of anything done, just drone bombing the entire region. Meanwhile, Trump comes into office, and in a matter of about 3 months, ISIS is no longer even a thing. So they couldn't have been that inept where they couldn't have done the same thing if they had wanted to, but they didn't want to. So I actually have here the letter. So this is Arthur Schwartz here. So, Director of National Intelligence, Washington, D.C., and this is to Lindsey Graham. In response to your request for intelligence community information related to the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Crossfire Hurricane investigation, I have declassified the following. In late July 2016, U.S. intelligence agencies obtained insight into Russian intelligence analysis alleging that U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton had approved a campaign plan to stir up a scandal against U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump by tying him to Putin and the Russians' hacking of the Democratic National Committee. The IC does not know the accuracy of the allegation or the extent to which the Russian intelligence analysis may reflect exaggeration or fabrication. So they don't know the extent to which. They're not saying that it is entirely fabricated or that they think it's entirely fabricated. In fact, this is likely probably hits the nail on the head if you were to ask me. But why would you ask me? I'm just some dude talking to his computer. So the second note, according to his handwritten notes, former Central Intelligence Agency Director Brennan subsequently briefed President Obama and several other national security officials on the intelligence, including the alleged approval by Hillary Clinton on July 26, 2016, of a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by Russian security services. So Brennan was in on this too. Let's see, on September 7th, 2016, U.S. intelligence officials forwarded an investigative referral to FBI Director James Comey and Deputy Assistant Director of Counterintelligence Peter Strzok regarding U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's approval of a plan concerning U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump and the Russian hackers, hampering the U.S. elections as a means of distracting the public from her use of a private mail server. So this was all done to distract Hillary Clinton, to distract from the email scandal. And remember, Comey changed the rules when he decided not to indict Hillary Clinton on the email server. She broke the law. And he came out and said that they were not going to charge her, that while she did something wrong, they weren't going to charge her because she didn't intend to do something wrong. But intent has never been part of the law. It has never been part of the interpretation of the law. You do the crime, you do the crime, you do the time. That's how it goes. Ignorance is no excuse for the law. We hear that in courts all the time, but of course, Hillary got special treatment. And this is from James Comey. Well, we now have new information about James Comey and his ties to the Clinton Foundation, of course. So, from Breitbart here, exposed FBI Director James Comey's Clinton Foundation connection. A review of FBI Director James Comey's professional history and relationships show that the Obama cabinet leader, now under fire for his handling of the investigation of Hillary Clinton, is deeply entrenched in the big money cronyism culture of Washington, D.C. His personal and professional relationships, all undisclosed as he announced the Bureau would not prosecute Clinton, reinforced bipartisan concerns that he may have politicized the criminal probe. And so these concerns focus on millions of dollars that Comey accepted from a Clinton Foundation defense contractor, Comey's former membership on a Clinton Foundation corporate partners board, and his surprising financial relationship with his brother Peter Comey, who works at the law firm that does the Clinton Foundation's taxes. So Comey is up to his gills in Clinton Foundation swamp water. So with Lockheed Martin, when President Obama nominated Comey to become FBI director in 2013, Comey promised the United States Senate that he would recuse himself from all cases involving former employees. But Comey earned $6 million in 1 year alone from Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin became a Clinton Foundation donor that very year. So he gets on the board, served as the Deputy Attorney General under John... Okay, so yeah, Lockheed Martin is a Clinton Foundation donor. The company admitted to becoming a Clinton Global Initiative member in 2010. And then we have HSBC Holdings. So in 2013, Comey became a board member, a director, and a Financial System Vulnerabilities Committee member of the London bank HSBC Holdings. HSBC Holdings and its various philanthropic branches routinely partner with the Clinton Foundation. For instance, HSBC Holdings has partnered with the Deutsche Bank through the Clinton Foundation to retrofit 1,500 to 2,500 housing units, primarily in the low to moderate income sector of New York City. Now, we all know that Deutsche Bank is likely the most corrupt bank, at least in the West. Likely the world, but at least in the Western countries. They were the bank they knew what was going on with Jeffrey Epstein, and they continued to do business with him. They knew what was going on with these girls, and they continued to fund his different ventures, so to say. Epstein was involved in a lot of things. It wasn't just the underage trafficking. He was also involved in these crazy, weird science projects, and he had on his ranch in in New Mexico. He was trying to basically get women to just have a bunch of little Jeffrey Epsteins so that he could raise like his own super race or something. It was just really bizarre stuff. Really bizarre stuff. I don't remember all the details, but so they were partnered with Deutsche Bank under Comey while working with the Clinton Foundation. It all seems to tie together. How anybody can look at all of this information and not realize that there is an entrenched establishment that works, just one hand washing the other, to just take anything that they want, do anything that they want, and get away with anything that they want, is beyond me. How you can see all this stuff and not see through the veil. It's so clear. Now, we get to this next part. Who is Peter Comey? So, when our source called the Chinatown offices of D.C. law firm DLA Piper and asked for Peter Comey, a receptionist immediately put him through to Comey's direct line. But Peter Comey is not featured on the DLA Piper website. So, he's kind of hidden. Peter Comey serves as Senior Director of Real Estate Operations for the Americas for DLA Piper, but James Comey was not questioned about his relationship with Peter Comey in his confirmation. DLA Piper is the firm that performed the independent audit of the Clinton Foundation in November during Clinton World's first big push to put the email scandal behind them. DLA Piper's employees, taken as a whole, represent a major Hillary Clinton 2016 campaign donation block and Clinton Foundation donation base. DLA Piper ranks number 5 on Hillary Clinton's all-time career top contributors list, just ahead of Goldman Sachs. So James Comey's brother works for this company that is just knee-deep in the Clinton Foundation. And you're gonna tell me that there's no connection here? That, oh, nothing to see here? No. This is dirty. This is straight up dirty dealings. And this needs to be further investigated. And I'm just getting so sick of all these things that need to be investigated, but we have no indictments yet. Oh, Kevin Kleinsmith, big deal. I want these top people to go down. We have so much dirt on them. We know. I mean, they are filthy. I mean, they are mud wrestler dirty. They need to go down, and they need to be given no deals, no light sentences. Hillary Clinton is. She needs to face the music, and she needs to get what's coming to her. And I'm not going to say what they should do to her. That is for the courts to decide. I think treason, we know what the consequences for that are. They're pretty plainly spelled out. That's my suggestion, but we'll let the law do its own thing. But we're seeing here, we've got this information coming out that Hillary Clinton was behind the entire thing. It was her plan. She signed off on it in order to create a scandal involving Donald Trump and Russia as a means to distract from what she did with her email server. Because I think if we find out if we get those emails, if they have those emails, we're going to find out that she was selling America off for parts. Among likely also with some human rights abuses, crimes against humanity type things. We already saw Fox News report, they on one of their little blurbs that they put up on the screen on the TV, They said that a look into the Clinton Foundation showed crimes against children. I think that needs to be, I think that needs to come to light, and I think that they need to make public some of this information. I mean, just saying that, you know, they've seen crimes against humanity with the Clinton Foundation, it's not enough. The details need to be made public. We cannot be spared this information because it might be damaging to the American politics. The truth needs to come out, and sometimes it might be rough. Sometimes things got to get worse before they get better, especially when you're dealing with something as crooked as this deep state establishment that has been trying to own America and steal it from the American people for decades now. This needs to come to light. The American people need to know, and the veil, all the lies, need to be exposed, and they need to be exposed in such a manner that we cannot question the veracity. That they are clearly true. We need that proof. We need that smoking gun. And with all of the stuff that we have, all of the information we have on them, this should be doable. But it is so important that Trump wins this election so they can finish the damn job. Anyways, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like button. Share this video. Let people know what's going on. Let people know how dirty these damn Democrats really are. Also, word of mouth is about the only way I can spread, because we all know that voices like mine are the first to be taken out back and old yellered by the folks at Big Tech. They algorithmically suppress all of my videos. They do it with all of the other people like me. You know, I was wondering the other day, why do I get so few negative comments on my videos? It's because only people that are already distinctly on the right and algorithmically identified as being on the right ever see my videos. So let's get, you know, share this with some lefties. Bring some hate my way. I love battling. I love battling that shit. So bring it on. Bring it the fuck on. Also, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Parler at Ram Thorburn. And if you're interested in contributing to the channel, could greatly use it. There are links to my Subscribe Star Patreon and PayPal down in the description below. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.